saw a video a month or so ago. Jehu Garcia put it out about creating a 24 volt DC 60 amp output chargers out of these two 12 volt systems. I bought these on eBay for $25 a piece. I bought two of them. The other one I've already converted, put captain's tape around it, and already charged it. What I found a problem when I started building this was this circuit board that's in here, which I'm going to show you. The circuit board inside of here, it seems like it's isolated from the case, but it is not. There's actually 4 screws that hold it down to the case, and I got to take those 4 screws out, put some captain's tape around those ground the circuit board to this case. And I found out it will not put out 24 volts. In fact, it'll short out when you try to loop it, and I'll show you how I do that in a minute. But there are 4 screws that hold this case together. 2 of them are right underneath these fans, and 2 of them are back here. And when I get to that point, I will show you where the screws are. You need to remove those, and they need to stay out, because you got to wrap captain's tape around the ground mounts that attach the circuit board to the case. And it's not going to work if you have the circuit board to the case. It'll short out. You can see that there's 2 screws. These are the front, well, these would be the back screws. And there's 2 screws hidden way in here. I got to take those out. Then I can remove the circuit board and wrap captain's tape around that. It's also helpful to remove this ground screw right here. That, so you can pull the circuit board around. This plug right here goes to the LED light right here. Oh, excuse me, I'm pointing at it. It goes to this. Goes to the LED light. If you can do it, I'm going to try to do it without unplugging it, because it's very, very difficult to plug that back in. Okay, let me just show you. These right here, this is the back, this is the bottom of the circuit board. And these points here that I'm pointing at, there's the 2, and these 2 right here, you want to put captain's tape or some insulation around this, and you're not going to reinsert the screws you just took out of this to redo these. So I'm going to put some captain's tape around there and slide the circuit board back into position and show you the next step after I get that done. I put 4 layers of captain's tape, which is this, I don't know, that's what, about 1/3 of an inch. It's in millimeters, I don't know what it is. Got it in China, and 4 layers I wrapped around this bottom part right here. And now to put it back in the case. I kind of flexed it around. Those 2 wires are still attached. And flex it around and put it back in here like this. What you do is you bring that back around and you try to finagle the case so it's all the way forward there. And the whole point of these 4 layers is captain's tape, this stuff, is to separate the circuit board from this case. You don't want a negative going to this thing. And I'll show you why when I hook up the wiring. I'm going to put the case back together again, screw it back together, but I'm not putting the 4 screws back in there because that will ground it. I will put the ground screw back on right here. I had to take that so it make it easier to flip out the circuit board. But other than that, start putting it back together. I put captain's tape on this just because this is the back part of this, and I don't want any of this even coming close to touching the body. Remember, the idea is not to have the circuit board, anything on the circuit board, grounding with the body. And how you do that is you turn on your tester that beeps. Whoop, one more. This is a negative. And it's not grounded. Before I put that captain's tape and took those 4 screws out, I could touch the negative part and it would be grounded. I'll double check once I put all the screws back in. Now let's talk about the wiring of this. If you just need a 12 volt power supply that will put out 60 amps, you don't need to do any what I just did, is take this apart and isolate the circuit board from the case. Let me just show you about the wiring. You're going to see on this, it is spot weld, not spot weld, it's soldered. It is soldered right there, the second one in, and on the back side it's soldered there also. Why that is, that just turns this on, because when you plug this into a server, the server will turn it on, the power supply. But this just shunts it and turns it on. And then the third one in, you go to your positive side right here. This is a XT90, and it's just been soldered. So you got a negative on this side. This is negative, this is positive. And this right here, I can't remember what that is, but there's the third one in to the positive. You solder a wire, just bring it across. And that will give you an output of 12 volts DC. And I'm going to wrap captain's tape around here. But again, I want to check it, the ground and the case. Nothing. And you don't want anything, because it will short out, which I'll show you the wiring on it. After I wrap the captain's tape around here to isolate this, I will show you the next step. What I've done is put captain's tape on the bottom of this, put just some electrical tape right there, and I am going to tape these together with electrical tape and captain's tape. Okay, here's what I've done. I've made this little contraption based on Jehu Garcia's idea. So you plug this one into the 12 volt output of the lower one. So the negative actually goes to the negative of your output, but the positive goes to the negative of this one, and the positive of this one goes to the output positive, turning these two 12 volts into 24 volt systems. Now the real test is, because I've tried this before and it shorted out because the circuit board was grounded to the case. We're going to see if this really works live. So give me a moment to set it up. One sure way you can tell that it's working is you can see these two green LED lights, they're on, which means both these are activated. Turn this around. Get my voltage meter in here. Let me turn this up. And here we go. Voila. 25 volts. Yay. It worked. 25.89 volts. What happened before is that when I plugged it in, it shorted out the system because it was getting grounded to the case. And so it only put out 12 volts. The top one would work, the bottom would work, but they would not work together under this wiring configuration. And your output is right here. See, I need to charge 7S, and I need 24 volts, and I need a lot of power. I want the 60 amps of 24 volts. So anyway, that is the system. Thought I would show you this. I'm going to put shrink wrap around this. This is my power supply, 24 volts, going into the PowerLab 8. My whole goal is so I can charge 7S.